Hey everyone, welcome to BrickVault. Today we have an amazing LEGO TIE Defender model to show you guys. This ship made its way into the canon Star Wars universe relatively recently, technically. First in the mobile strategy game Star Wars Commander, then becoming much more well known in the Star Wars Rebels TV show. Now before this, however, the Defender occupied its space in the now Legends universe for some time, making its first true visual appearance in the 1994 game TIE Fighter, though it looked a bit different back then. Needless to say though, in both universes, it's one of the fastest, most heavily armed fighters in the Empire, with both a deflector shield and hyperdrive. Being possibly the most effective fighter in the fleet, it begs the question, why call it the Defender in the first place? It absolutely wreaks havoc every time it gets given a chance in the field, so Defender just feels a little soft for such a beast of a ship. Okay, so this episode, as always, is all about the details, so I'll jump into the nitty-gritty in just a second for this ship. But if you are familiar with the custom LEGO creations we like to show off on this channel, you may recognize this craftsmanship. This is the latest TIE fighter or TIE design to come from the ever-talented and dedicated builder Jarek. It now joins the family of the rest of the TIEs that he has designed, and if you wanted to make this MOC, the instructions can be found at our web store at www.brickvault.toys. Included with each purchase is the easy-to-follow PDF step-by-step building instructions, as well as a digital parts list so you can instantly upload online to order all the pieces that you will need. Buying from our web store is a great way to help support us here at the channel, as well as the amazing designers that we work with like Jarek. Also, you get to build a high quality LEGO model. Now getting more specific when it comes to the size of the Defender, I'd say it's the biggest of any of the TIEs, though maybe the TIE Fighter takes up a little bit more space or height compared to the Defender. I feel like this ship has just got more mass, and when you see the Defender compared to the rest of the minifig scale ships we've got here in the studio, you'll see the Defender has quite a bit of meat when compared to most of the other starfighters, which makes sense. At the end of the day, it is just a bigger and beefier kind of ship. Here it is next to the Ghost at Yavin 4. These guys definitely encountered each other in Star Wars Rebels, and the TIE Defender also can be seen next to some of the other larger UCS minifig scale creations like the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium, as well as, of course, the Millennium Falcon. You might have seen this shot for a second earlier, but once again, these are all 5 of the TIE Fighter creations done by Jarek all together. They scale to each other and to the rest of the ships I've been showing you guys, and they honestly just look amazing when up in the display stand, all next to each other, one after another. So now we know what the model sort of looks like in a larger physical realm. Let's take a closer look now at some of the nicer, more intricate details, starting off with its only really interactive feature. That is, of course, you can open up the cockpit and fit a minifigure on the inside, and similar to the other TIE models, but also not similar to the original shape of the ship, you cannot fit a minifigure through the top hatch, which would be normal. You just kind of fold open the front windscreen and take off a couple of those rounded over bricks. Once you have done that though, there's actually quite a lot of space and a lot of detail on the inside. You can see all kinds of printed little panel pieces to show buttons and detailing all along the interior, with red trans pieces and other red pieces to kind of show that ominous glow that you often see on the inside of, I think, all TIE fighters. And after not very much fussing really, you can fold all of the pieces back into place, and you've got yourself a TIE Defender that's actually ready to get into some action. Now, speaking of which, let's go through the weapons systems. Interestingly enough, this build is pretty much the same on the front of this TIE Defender, as well as pretty much all the front hulls for a lot of the TIE ships, though I have seen at least once that those front cannons aren't actually laser cannons, but instead missile launchers, and then the real heavy laser cannons are 2 each on the ends of all the wings. So that would be 6 in total. Then, according to the stats, at least on Wikipedia, this ship should be packing a very big punch with a bigger arsenal of different types of weapons, though I couldn't be sure where they would end up on the ship. We have what look like some larger cannons that are in between each of the wings. This is very similar to how the TIE Interceptor extra wings are set up. And also, while you're looking at this section of the build, I really like the way that Jarek added those little clips and tiles together, just as a bit of extra detailing. It does mimic the authentic look of at least one of the different TIE Defender iterations. And also, Ramon wanted me to tell you that his fingers hurt quite a lot after putting all of those little 1x1 tiles into the clips. As I shuffle through the different angles of this particular part of the ship, there are just all kinds of really intricate details seen throughout every little inch or centimeter of the TIE Defender. I appreciate how Jarek uses the undersides of some small pieces to add a little bit of extra detailing or change up the look a little bit on the outside of the wings. That's not an easy thing to pull off aesthetically. If you do it too much, it kind of looks a little sloppy or unintentional. Definitely not the case here. And also, you've seen the Defender standing up on its wings, and I just wanted to show you how that connection point works, at least on this one side. These wings are attached by an incredible amount of force, and when you're shuffling or sliding the ship along any flat surface, you will feel that this is a solid build and none of the extremities are flimsy at all. Now, I wanted to give you guys a slow and easy look at the total cockpit shape. It's very spherical, almost perfectly spherical, and it kind of has a different look or feel compared to other TIE builds, just because the TIE Fighter always has arms sticking directly out of this part of the cockpit. So it's fun to see this shape actually fully realized when it comes to the Defender. Now we have settled on the back by the main thrusters. Proportionally, you can see that there's a bit more of a build that kind of jumps out of the back of the Defender, which is not like how a TIE Fighter would work or like a TIE Interceptor. And perhaps this gives you a better impression as to why maybe this is a faster ship. Unlike the canonized versions of the Defender, Jarek has put 3 ion engines on the back. I believe those little red dots are what represent the ion engines, and as you remember, TIE stands for twin ion engines, but I suppose the T could still stand for triple or tri in this case. And here is some concept art depicting the TIE Defender with a triple section or even 6 ion engines in some cases, and this is just an aesthetically pleasing design that Jarek decided to go with. I think it looks great. And then also, you're getting a pretty good look at how the arms come together. It's almost seamless, but the studs are actually reversed against each other here, so there's very little to almost none of the undersides of the studs being shown, and the overall structure is just built like a rock. I cannot reiterate enough as to how incredibly solid this design comes together. Here's also a little bit of a better look as to how the studless wings are built. It's a series of slope pieces, very similar, or I mean the same general approach as to how the other ties come together. The models simply look better without undersides of plates showing on one side and studs showing on the other. It just looks a lot cleaner, and I think I've talked a lot about the handling now. Let's actually go into a full shot of the tie now, and you can see just for yourself as to how casually I handle this build. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head that you should be aware of is, you know, the head is big and it's a little bit front heavy, I suppose. So the model can kind of jump forward a little bit if you push it around in a certain way. But even then, if it falls forward, there isn't really anything flimsy to break. So in terms of any kind of standardized way you would mark this model for structural integrity, I would give it as high a marks as you could for a model of this weight. That's probably the only thing that I would consider as a detractor if you really wanted to play around with it a lot. It's super swooshable. It is just a heavy model, and the heavier a build means the harder it's going to be hitting against objects if you bang it against something. But in terms of handling this model delicately or weak points to speak of, I can't really think of anything. Obviously, the weapons at the very front, those little lightsaber blade handles, will probably pop off if you were to swipe it against a flat surface. But other than that, this model is absolutely tip-top, super casual to handle. I have to say, the Defender is probably the best looking TIE model outside of all of the extra TIE models, not including, of course, what you see in the original trilogy. But I mean, anything from canon or Legends, I really do feel like this is one of the designs that still fits right in with the feel of the Star Wars universe. That's probably the reason why creators of the Rebels show decided to go with a TIE Defender look instead of literally any other type of style. I think there's just something that really works about this ship, and like always, Jarek the designer really knocked this one out of the park. So let me know what you guys think about this model. Remember, you can find the instructions at our web store. That's www.brickvault.toys, and comment below if you got any ideas on what types of models MOCs you'd like to see in the future. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.